So the 3 questions that I will be discussing today is, what is obesity, what causes obesity, and how can we get rid of or minimize obesity. So obesity is the excess of body fat. Obesity comes from a sedentary lifestyle, minimal to no movement, walking, exercise, and also a poor diet. So a diet saturated in fats and or high sugars. We can eradicate or minimize obesity by becoming more aware of what we're putting in our bodies and ultimately how that would affect our bodies. We can also become more active, taking daily walks or just going to the gym can better increase our chances in diminishing obesity. Live better, be better, the cure to obesity. Hi, my name is Alexis Cantrell, and I've seen obesity in my life as well as my family's lives, and I know that this is a problem that needs to be remedied. I know that I've had family who has had like sicknesses, illnesses, heart disease, or diabetes from obesity. And from the things that I've learned from the National Institute of Health, as well as CDC and Mayo Clinic, I have presented to you the most up-to-date information, and I'll be informing you on that today. So the problem that I will be talking about today is obesity, as well as the lack of knowledge that the community as a whole has when it comes to nutrition and how movement can affect your body. Things that I have come up with to remedy this would be the implementation of nutrition programs in communities, as well as community cooking classes. These 2 things could take place at a church, at a gym, at a community center, which would make it more accessible to everyone in the community. I've also come up with the idea of mental health awareness classes. I think that a lot of people are not aware of how what we eat or how our mood can affect what we eat or things that we crave. And instead of giving into that craving, becoming more cognizant of what is causing that, I feel like that could be taught in a mental health awareness class to kind of bridge that gap between our mental health and the things that we choose to put in our bodies. I also suggest an increase in physical activity, just going on daily walks. I know it seems really minuscule, but sometimes it can get hard. But just increase in physical activity can minimize obesity, and it can help you feel better when it comes to your mental health. According to National Institute of Health, in the U.S., over 42% of adults are considered obese. So just think about that. Out of every 10 people, 4% of people are considered obese. And I know that this is a problem that has affected people in my life. It can, has affected me as well. And I just think that it may sound just like a statistic, but when you actually look around and you realize, you see someone who is obese every now and then, it starts to hit you where you may know somebody in your family who struggles with it. I think that it's something that we all should be aware of, no matter of what your classification may be. So I want to talk about Jason, who is a 15-year-old boy. Jason was in the 98th percentile BMI, meaning he was considered morbidly obese. Jason struggled with binge eating. He also struggled with healthy eating habits. He also struggled with mental health. So Jason and a psychologist partnered together. The psychologist worked with Jason on figuring out what triggered his cravings and what triggered his binge eating, working on his mood and the things that he felt inside. The psychologist was also able to find or bridge the gap between Jason's hunger cravings and his hunger and his cravings, meaning that sometimes when you crave something, that means you're not necessarily hungry, and Jason wasn't aware of this. The psychologist was also able to work with Jason on realizing that Jason had a goal, but there was also a gap between his motivation to reach that goal. So together they were able to work together and remedy this and figure out problems that Jason could, or figure out ways that Jason could better live and increase the goal the motivation that he had to reach his goal. Jason came up with plans to get more movement. Whenever he was invited out with friends, Jason would suggest that they do things that required physical activity. Jason would also pre-plan ahead. He knew that he was going out, so he would eat properly before, or he would take out a couple of snacks with him. Jason also realized that his mom making comments about his food also played a factor, so the psychologist was able to work with Jason and his mom to remedy this and to realizing his mom that, you know, this isn't helping his goals. Jason ultimately decreased his BMI, and he's now living a more active and healthy lifestyle due to these things that he caught early on. According to the CDC, using calories through physical activity combined with reducing calories eaten creates a deficit. This simply means that when we are consuming foods, it's imperative to do some movement. It's imperative to, if not like weight lifts, it's imperative to get some walks, some steps in, because our body runs on a calorie in, calorie out system. Sometimes, you know, we realize we may go to the gym and we may still eat bad, but it's really imperative to get healthy nutrition as well as do movement, because you don't want your body to overwork yourself trying to break down these calories when doing movement. So some things that I came up with would be the implementation of nutrition programs, increased physical activity. I would encourage community cooking classes to create a sense of camaraderie. And mental health awareness classes to bridge that gap between your mental health as well as what you are consuming or what you're craving. According to Thomas Talbot, MD at the CDC, calories in and calories out is a big component of healthy eating and healthy living. It's also a really big component of your movement. That basically just means that, like I mentioned, when we are sedentary and we're just eating and eating and eating, that is not good for our bodies. We need to be out moving to break down the food that we've consumed, as well as to burn some of those calories out to prevent obesity. With solutions above, I'm sure as a community, we will be able to live better and notice changes not only in ourselves, but also in the community as well. We will be able to notice a change in interaction between people. We will notice maybe more people walking in the neighborhood. And yeah, just, I feel like this would definitely help our sense of camaraderie, and being in the neighborhood, you just notice more people being active. You may be able to speak to more people. So my final thoughts. Obesity is a problem, and the solutions would be, as I mentioned, the implementation of the nutrition programs, community cooking classes, mental health awareness classes, as well as an increased lifestyle. And together, as we all, like I said, work together to implement these problems, it'll be better for us all. My quote would be, fitness is king, nutrition is queen. If you put it together, you have a healthy kingdom.